everybody. Peter Greenberg here on this second Thursday of May 2022 for our Facebook Global Travel Update. So much to talk about, so let's get right into it. But of course, you can always email me your questions. You know where to do it on the screen, on your screen, and I'll answer it on my screen. Of course, if you can't get through, you can always email me to peter@petergreenberg.com with your name, phone number, question, or problem. We will get back to you on that as well. And of course, you'll listen to our radio show every Saturday from 10 a.m. till 1 p.m. I'm on travel, where we'll answer questions as well. But now let's get into some of the news, and then we'll get to your questions. Let's start with the bad news. The reports are out. Airfares for April were up 33.3% over the month before. And what a surprise, they're going up even more. And in some markets, they've doubled, and they're going to go even higher. This is not a good idea, but it's happening because we have this inverse relationship between exploding demand and decreasing capacity. Airlines, at least in this country, are still cutting routes. Let's take a look at some other numbers. If you go back a year ago in May, we started to get up to numbers of about 2.3 million a day, passengers a day being screened through TSA security checkpoints. Even then, that was a struggle for the system to handle it. Well, I'm looking at all the projections for the end of this month and going through summer. We're going to be at about 3.1 million a day. The system may not be able to handle it at all. It could be a real mess out there. And it's going to continue with no signs of abating. Airfares going up. There are only a couple of pleasant signs, and I'll tell you what they are. And they're not in this country. Airfares to France are still down about 22% over what they were in 2019. Airfares to the United Kingdom down about 23% over what they were in 2019. Those numbers are going to go up as well. But there is one great little silver lining if you like to follow this information. And by the way, I do. And that's the strength of the US dollar against foreign currencies. Take a look at where the US dollar is. It's not bad. First of all, let's start with the euro. It's down to $1.05. That's the lowest the euro's been since 2017. Now let's look at some individual currency comparisons. Let's take a look at Argentina. They've devalued the peso so much that if you look at basic goods and services, not just the airline ticket or the hotel, because those can be adjusted. I'm talking about basic goods and services that the locals spend. A restaurant meal, a tube of toothpaste, a taxi ride, things like that. All of a sudden, Argentina becomes eminently affordable. Same thing in South Africa. And in Turkey, they've devalued the lira so much that a summer trip to Turkey this year, on average, in real US dollars, is 36% less than what it was last year, and going down. In fact, if you look at the US dollar against many foreign currencies, the US dollar is at its highest point in 20 years. So if you want to get smart and strategic, don't try to squeeze yourself into a national park this summer. Go overseas. But those fares to Paris and to Europe and to London, they're only going to go up the more you wait. At least now you know. If you watched CBS Mornings yesterday, you saw me on the show with Gail and Nate and Tony talking about one of the most confusing and some would say misleading aspects of the travel experience. That was travel insurance. And I've talked about this many times with you. It bears talking about again because there's some good news there as well. We all learned painfully during the pandemic, and most of you who make your reservations online already know what I'm about to tell you, that if you go online to make a reservation for an airline ticket or a hotel room, you cannot complete the transaction unless you either opt in or opt out of the insurance. And with all your best intentions, you want to buy trip cancellation and interruption insurance. And so a lot of you did, not realizing, of course, you didn't read any of the policy language. And in fact, we found out very quickly during the pandemic that somewhere buried in the policy language of most of these insurance policies was a sentence that basically said, we don't cover for pandemic, bye-bye. So you bought worthless insurance and you didn't get your money back. It was a double negative. The good news now is that the insurance market has sort of pivoted. They realize there's a market for this now, and a number of policies, one of which is by Allianz. They're probably the largest travel insurance company in the world. They're now covering you if you either have to cancel because of COVID or you go overseas and test positive and have to be quarantined. They'll pay your expenses as well. But once again, please take my advice. Do not buy any insurance policy online. Go through a travel advisor or a travel agent. Have a conversation. Have them walk you through the hieroglyphics of the policy language so you know not only what you're covered for, but what you're not covered for. There are many exclusions in every policy. There are age exclusions. There are pre-existing medical exclusions. There are even destination exclusions. If the State Department's got a level 4 do not travel warning, there are many insurance policies that will not cover you for trips to those destinations. And considering that in the last couple of years, the State Department has painted with a very broad brush, you need to check that out before you buy insurance that may not cover you. Now that's trip cancellation and interruption insurance. But there's another kind of insurance you absolutely need to have. And once again, don't buy it online. That's medical evacuation and repatriation insurance. There are a couple of companies that really do a great job on this. One is called MedJet Assist. Another one's called Travel Guard. And the reason why they do a great job is it gets down to the language again. Here's how the MedJet policy works. If you get sick or injured overseas, they will pay to get you medically stabilized in that location, and then they will consult with your own personal physician, who knows your medical history better than your own doctor. And after that consultation, depending on your condition, they will fly you back on a medical equipped jet to the doctor and medical facility of your choice. Same thing with Travel Guard. Not all policies do that, and their premium costs reflect that. You do not want to be sent to a medical facility and doctor of their choice, because then you become the victim of the lowest bidder. Again, read the policy language carefully. There are age cutoffs, there are other exclusions, and of course there are destination cutoffs. But I've had my policy, I happen to carry MedJet Assist. I'll knock on wood here, I've had it for over 23 years, and thank God I've never had to use it. I will give you an example because I saw it myself. A couple of years ago, a stupid American tourist was in Cairo, out in Giza by the pyramids. He thought he wanted to climb the pyramids. Well, he fell off and he broke his hip. They had to buy 4 first-class seats just to put the stretcher between 2 rows to carry him home, a 5th first-class seat for the nurse the airline required to go with him, and he didn't have insurance. The airfare costs alone were $87,000. I rest my case. The annual premium for a good medical evacuation and repatriation policy is about $600. They even have family plans or husband and wife plans or spouse plans. It works. The trip cancellation and interruption insurance, it will cost you anywhere from 6 to 9 or 10% of the cost of your trip. Again, don't buy it online. Now, you may have heard there's something called CFAR insurance. That stands for cancel for any reason when it comes to trip cancellation and interruption insurance. That's a very high premium. In the old days, that was about a year ago, you get back about 75 to 80% of your investment should you cancel for any reason. Maybe you had a bad hair day. Today, most of those policies drop down to 50. So, you're not getting back your full investment. Be advised about that. Okay? That's the insurance thing. Now, speaking of numbers, let's go one more thing here. You heard the story I talked about last week about the Virgin Atlantic flight from London to Kennedy, where once they got up to altitude, the pilot discovered when the co-pilot admitted to him he was still a junior cadet, had never passed his exams. And of course, the pilot immediately declared an emergency and returned back to London. How that guy got on the plane is indicative of what we're talking about when we talk about a pilot shortage. And part of it, at least in this country, gets down to minimum hours required to sit in the right seat and minimum number of hours required to sit in the left seat. I covered a terrible accident and crash back in February of 2009. It was Colgan Air near Buffalo, New York. And we found that the pilot had failed many of his recurrent training tests and was still allowed to fly the plane. And the co-pilot was really junior. And even though they may have had the required number of hours, they didn't really have the required number of training. And because of that, the families of the victims worked very hard with a number of people, including Jeffrey Skiles, a name you may not remember, but I know him very well. He was Sully's co-pilot on the Miracle on the Hudson. He lobbied hard with them to get the FAA to raise the minimums to 1,500 hours before you can sit in any of those seats. What did that do? It effectively created another pilot shortage because a lot of commuter airlines were taking pilots with far less number of hours. Well, now we have another pilot shortage, and there is some lobbying going on to reduce the number of required hours. Let's hope that saner heads prevail and we don't go backwards. You got to keep that number of hours. But most importantly, if you fail recurrent training, news bulletin, you fail. Get out of the cockpit. So we need to do a little bit more oversight there as well. One more thing about numbers. My good friend Norm Eston, who I grew up with, he's now a major cool doctor in Maui. He decided to send me a little image the other day, which basically said, amidst all the stuff we're going through around the world, the terrible stories, the stories that we don't understand, even the numbers at the airports, all the things that we talk about here every week, he's finally figured out the thing that has created all the problems in the world. Show it. There it is. Hot dogs come in a pack of 10. Hot dog buns come in a pack of 8. We have still not figured this out. That's all I'm going to say. We have still not figured this out. In airline terms, they overbooked the flight. But in realistic terms, you're going to end up with a lot of extra hot dog buns if you do the math. All right, get rid of that image. I just had to do that. All right, let's go scroll down here and see what everybody has to say today. Okay. Sue is saying hi from Bellingham, Washington. Tanzania is checking in. Katrina's saying from Alabama. She always says hi. Victor's saying welcome back to Tanzania. Well, I'm back home now, but we love Tanzania. Manyika is saying hello from Tanzania. Another T. Camilla says hi from Tucson. All right. Tanzania again. Gary says just off Nova Scotia, about 35,000 feet up, flying back from Rome. Reminds me of 9/11 where they all landed in Gander. Well, hope you get home soon. More Tanzania friends. Listen to this. Evelyn says, fares are ridiculous. No kidding, Evelyn. Denver to Orlando one way, $643. That's crazy. There are other ways to skin that cat. We can talk about it. Okay, Priya saying hello from Irvine. Moses is in Tanzania. So is Agnes. So Evelyn saying Colombia is affordable. Right now, a lot of places are bargains if you get out the map, which you need to see. A lot of Tanzania people saying hi. Johnson saying greetings from Tanzania. The Royal Tour movie is great. Thank you, sir. Which, by the way, self-serving plug here. It's now playing on many PBS stations. It's also available on Amazon Prime and Apple TV Plus. It's Tanzania, the Royal Tour with the president, Samia Suluhu Hassan. And a very fun piece this week in the New Yorker about her, if you get a chance to pick it up. That's the May 16th edition out now. Okay, let's keep going. All right, keep going up. Ted says, I'm driving from Naples to Charleston, but want to see regional low country attractions. Well, the cool thing is, get off the interstate. Don't drive on the interstate. Do the 2-lane county roads. You won't miss any of the local attractions. I recommend a book that's many years old now by William Least Heat Moon. How about that for a name of an author? It's called Blue Highways, because those are the highways in the old Rand McNally atlases that were the 2-lane county roads. That's the way to see America, not the interstate. Okay, good morning or good afternoon from Minnesota. Zanzibar's weighing in. Patty's saying hello from Kentucky. When should I start booking flights for a trip to Italy next year? Okay, the answer is not now. But you also have to tell me when next year, January or February, or June and July and August. Let me know that, okay, Patty? Okay. Robin's saying hello from Williamsburg, always. Okay. Here we go. Zach is saying hello from Houston. Oh, he's enjoying the new season of the Travel Detective. That's right, it's on now. Season 7 has premiered, so check your local stations. It's also available on Amazon Prime as well, but it's on PBS first and foremost. Okay. Terry's saying, greetings from Madison, Wisconsin. Have I been to Palio and Siena? I have. By the way, a very cool thing, but remember, you don't want to stay in Siena. It's a madhouse. You want to go for the day and watch the horses racing through town. It's gorgeous. Then go over to San Gimignano. The cathedral there is unreal. You can skip Pisa. Remember the building? Okay. But go to Lucca. That's the cool place. Okay. All right. Ellen wants to know, when will the World Tour be shown on PBS in New York? We'll check with WNET in New York, Channel 13, they'll tell you. Hi from Palm Beach from Roseanne. Victor's saying, Tanzania again. All the Asante Sanas from Tanzania. Okay. Lots of them. Okay, here we are. I'm looking here. Okay. Mary says, state parks, don't just look at national parks. Mary, I got bad news for you. I love state parks. They're going to be overcrowded this summer as well. Americans are going by road this year. Do the math. Even if gas is $12 a gallon, it's a whole lot better than a $1,600 ticket for a family of 4. They're going to cram them in the car. Granny's on the roof. Beverly Hillbillies Part 7. Here we go. The state parks are also to be crowded. I love state parks. Okay, we're still going to go here. Hold on a second. I'm scrolling back up. Priya heard my interview with the president of Tanzania on my podcast. I'm glad you liked it. Okay, let's keep going here. Linda Rush, she's got the book, Blue Highways. Congratulations. Okay. Patty says we'd like to do the Italy trip I asked about in April or May. Okay, that's good. That's the time to do it. So if you want to book that trip, wait until September 15th or maybe October 1st. You'll see some very low airfares then for that. Okay. Karen says, greetings from Oceanside. Traveling to Italy and Spain in June. American Express Travel told me I still need a 24-hour COVID test coming back to the U.S. Okay, that's ridiculous if you're traveling in June. Let me talk about that 24-hour test. In the world of reciprocity, it is only a matter of time. And I'm thinking by the end of Memorial Day weekend, before the U.S. gets rid of that rule that you have to have a negative COVID-19 test to be able to come back to the United States within 24 hours of your departure flight home. Every other country in the world has gotten rid of that as long as you can prove vaccination. So the clock is ticking. If we still need a 24-hour rule test next June to come back from Italy, I'm staying in Italy. How about that? Okay. A lot of Italy questions here. I'm trying to get back up here to. Okay. Someone's traveling to Italy's Amalfi Coast in late May. Our first time there, I looked in airfares and hotel over 6 months ago and I purchased insurance from Allianz. Do we need a test on our return? Right now, I'm saying it's probably going to go away after Memorial Day, maybe June 15th, but I do not see that test surviving the summer. That's all I can tell you. And by the way, you say you purchased from Allianz. We like those guys because they got their act together even when they didn't really cover it the last time. They are covering it now. But again, did you purchase it online? Did you read the policy language? Talk to somebody who can talk to you about that so you know if you're really covered. You need to find that out before you leave home. Okay? All right. Hello from Toronto, from Gigi. Greetings from Tanzania again. Jumbo again. Okay. Hello from Palm Springs. What's the best way to see Costa Rica, Panama, Puerto Rico, and Miami on a month-long trip? Well, with the exception of Puerto Rico, the way to do it economically is check with an airline in Panama named Copa. They hub right there. They've got their act together in terms of their routes and their spokes, and it's a great way to do it. You fly in and out of Panama to go to anywhere you want to go. As far as Puerto Rico is concerned, when you finish in Panama, fly up to Miami, and then double back down to Puerto Rico. Within the Caribbean, it used to be that American Airlines owned Puerto Rico, and you could fly anywhere on an American Airlines or Eagle flight. Not much anymore. So look at Miami as your best way to get in, or even JFK into Puerto Rico once you get back to the U.S. Okay. Here's one from Dave. He's doing a cruise over the summer. What's my opinion on cruises? I'm a big fan. They got their act together. They did. They had to comply with 75 different protocols from the CDC before they were able to sail again. And the new ships that are coming out of the shipyards have all those baked in. So I've been on 4 or 5 cruises since I think May of 21, and I'm planning to do a few more that we'll be reporting on. I'll be on one in June, by the way. Let me tell you about it. It's to support the University of Wisconsin Alumni Association. It starts on June 9th in Lisbon and goes all the way through Normandy and Omaha Beach and into Spain and into other parts of France, and then ends in London. It's about a 9-day cruise, great cruise. It benefits the UW Alumni Association. Of course, I'm a Badger, so check with them if you want to go. I think there's still some space left. It's going to be an amazing trip. Okay. Greetings from California from Joan. Adrian is saying, oh, inquiring minds in LA forgot to buy your travel insurance for next October 23rd. Well, you have time. Look, go to your travel agent. Tell your travel agent or travel advisor you want to buy travel insurance for this trip. You have time. Make sure that you qualify for what you need, that you're buying coverage you can actually use should you need it. Okay? Keep in mind that on most trip cancellation and insurance policies, there's another exclusion too. That's weather. You can't buy a trip cancellation policy once a hurricane is officially named. Duh. It's like buying fire insurance once the second floor catches fire. So you know the drill. But no, Adrian, you're well within your time frame now. Go to a travel agent, buy it from them. Okay. Robert says, I love this. I had accommodations at Yellowstone National Park for July 4th weekend, but I canceled months ago because of the crowds. You'd have to put a gun to my head to get me to go to Yellowstone over July 4th, right? I mean, come on. Why would you do that? I love Yellowstone in the off season. I love it between November and April. Just dress warmly and be aware, which I had to learn the hard way, moose can run much faster than you think they can. This is not Rocky and Bullwinkle time. They are fast animals. Other than that, go between November and April. Okay, hold on a second. We're scrolling back up. Lots of people to talk to. Okay. Here we go. Oh, lots of friends in Tanzania. Boy, you guys are everywhere today. Okay. Dave says, and if you're vaccinated, do you still have to have a negative COVID test before getting on a cruise? In most cases, the cruise line will, despite your vaccination status, they will test you before you board the ship. And of course, as long as that US rule is still in place, they will test you before you leave the ship to come home. Okay. Megan saying, greetings from Sunset Beach. Megan, I know, goes down here for the Tanzania premiere. G says, I want to go to Japan. Any news about Japan opening? It's going to open within the next 2 months. It's slowly doing it, but it's open. It will be. Okay. Thank you for that note, Elizabeth. I appreciate that from Tanzania. Joy Daniel says, what do I think happened to those couples that died at the resort in the Bahamas? Well, I have a theory, but I have to give you a sort of a disclaimer. I'm not directly covering that story right now, so I don't have all the facts. But I did cover the story that happened when all those American tourists died in the Dominican Republic. Do you remember that? On 3 or 4 different resorts around the same exact time. And, you know, look, there's not a show on TV called CSI Dominican Republic, right? But the forensics didn't take long to figure out what everybody had in common, right? What do they have in common? They had been drinking either before they got back to their room. I'm talking about Dominican Republic. Either before they got back to the room or once they got in the room with the minibar, and then somehow they collapsed and died. Everybody thought, oh, it was tainted liquor. No. 4 different resorts? Hardly. But what did those resorts have in common? It was they were supplied by the same supply company for their towels, for their washcloths, for their cleaning supplies, for their equipment. And it really got down to the cleaning supplies. Carpet cleaner, and in some cases, sanitizers are sent, we're talking liquid form, are sent to these hotels, and almost every hotel in heavily toxic concentrated forms that must be diluted. And there's a clear indication here that whoever was cleaning those rooms prior to those people checking in did not properly dilute that chemical. And the carpet fibers retained it and retained that toxicity level. You take that toxicity level, combine it with alcohol, and it can create something called acute respiratory failure, which then gets misdiagnosed as a heart attack. That's what I think happened in the Dominican Republic. It could be the same case here in the Bahamas, but we're going to have to wait and see. The answer is I don't know, and to guess anything else would be purely speculative. But at least that's my theory. Okay. Robin says, as last year, going back to Hawaii this year, I bought tickets yesterday. Ticket costs today are up $400 more. My point. Okay. Headed to Italy June 8th for celebrity cruise. How easy is it to get antigen tests in Rome before sailings? I would check with the cruise line. They may be providing that shoreside right before the ship, before you get on. Double check with celebrity, okay? Okay. Adrian wants to know, is that spelled Alliance? No. The name of the insurance company is Allianz. It's Allianz, okay? But again, go through a travel agent or a travel advisor. Please do not buy it online because you're not getting the benefit of understanding what you're covered for or what you're not covered for. Okay? All right. Oh, by the way, while we have a chance, let's do today's trivia question. Here it comes. I'll do it twice. Name the easternmost state in the United States. I'll say it again. Name the easternmost state in the United States. Let's see who guesses right. Okay. Lots of Tanzania. Is Havana open for business now? I'm going to give you a qualified yes, Adrian. The Trump administration tried to limit who could go from America. They basically re-restricted all the restrictions that were removed during the Obama administration. But the answer is you can still go. It's a little bit more difficult to do it, although many Americans are just doing it essentially illegally. They're going through third countries. They're going through the Bahamas. They're going through Mexico. They're going through Canada, which is a huge entry point. And the Cubans don't stamp your passport, so you weren't there. And when you leave, they don't stamp your passport. So if you go through the Bahamas, you fly from the Bahamas to Havana or Veradero Beach. They don't stamp your passport when you come in, or when you leave, you come back to the Bahamas. Nobody stamps your passport there except the Bahamians. And then when you leave to come back to the United States, you clear U.S. Customs, in this case, in the Bahamas, as you would in Canada. That's all part of pre-clearance, and you come home. And everybody looks the other way. It's like the Claude Rains character shocked to finding out that gambling's going on at Rick's Casino and collecting his winnings from the night before. Am I encouraging you to do illegal behavior? I'm not. I'm just reporting on how many people are doing it. Okay? Okay. Okay, Lois says, with big ship cruising back, most ships are sailing at near or full capacity. Already there's been a breakout of COVID on celebrity. What do you think? I talk about this word, actually used it the reverse way. You said breakout or outbreak. You got to use that word carefully. What constitutes an outbreak? A number of cases or a rampant number of cases? Remember, the most number of cases we've seen in the last 7 or 8 months were 48 cases on an RCCL ship that carried 4,300 passengers. That's a caseload of 1.5%. We saw one in Seattle about 10 days ago where the caseload numbers were up to maybe 2.5% to 3%. That's well within margins. That's not an outbreak. Plus, remember, all those passengers who got positive were already vaccinated. The crew's vaccinated. The officers are vaccinated. They were either asymptomatic or had mild symptoms. They could contact trace them. They could quarantine them for 3 days, either on the ship or at local hospitals. The only reason we went to, local hotels. Nobody went to a hospital and nobody died. We are at the stage now, thankfully, where we're learning how to manage this. And we're doing a pretty good job. So what do I think about big ship cruising? I happen to be a fan of the smaller ships anyway, but it wouldn't stop me from going on a big ship as long as I played by the rules. I was vaccinated, and I wore my mask if I was going to be 6 inches away from somebody in a crowded bar. That's about it, at least for me. Now, I'm not a doctor. I don't play one on Facebook or anywhere else for that matter, but you asked my opinion, I gave it to you. Okay, let's keep going here. Oh my goodness, lots of people here. All right, everybody's guessing. Melanie's saying Maine. Vivian's saying Maine. Sherry's saying Massachusetts. Joan's saying Delaware. Drew's saying Maine. Everybody's saying Maine. Mary's saying New York. Gail's saying North Carolina. Okay, so far, you are all wrong. Okay, I'm going to keep scrolling until I find somebody who got Rhode Island. Wrong. Maine, wrong. Okay. Another Maine guess. Wrong. Massachusetts, wrong. Okay. Okay, a couple of guys just got it. I'll give you credit. Here it is. Who just got it here? Vicky Rogers Balk said the right answer. So did Janice Welsian. Excuse me, Janice, so I mispronounced your name. So did Robert Gessick. So did Deborah McCall. And so did, hold on, is anybody else? So did Diane Nakano. And Camilla Mork really got it right. Let me tell you, before I tell you the easternmost state, let me tell you the other answers. What's the westernmost state in America? Anybody want to guess? It's Alaska. What's the northernmost state? It's Alaska. What's the southernmost state? It's not Texas, it's not Florida, and it's not California. It's Hawaii. And the easternmost state, which these people just got right because they got out their maps and they did their homework, it's Alaska. It goes so far west, it crosses the international date line. As Camilla says, it's Attu, Alaska in the Aleutians. It's three of the four answers. It's north, it's west, and it's east. Congratulations to the guys who got it. Juice saying hello from Singapore. Okay, let's keep going here. Okay, now the Alaska questions are coming in. All right, now, shall we go to the picture of the week? Let's go to the photo of the week. Let's punch it up. And there it is. Anybody want to guess where that is? Anybody? Okay, here it is. It's from the Columbia River Gorge in Oregon. Beautiful spring wildflowers blooming there, courtesy of Benjamin Chin, who just took that photograph. Benjamin, thank you so much for saying that. And there it is. Oregon sunshine, as Benjamin says. We love Oregon. So if you've got a photo that you think qualifies, you know what to do. Just send it in to us, peter@petergreenberg.com. And if we like it, it goes right there. All right. Some more. Okay. Rose is now saying celebrity is not providing testing, only children under the age of 5. So if that's the case, call a hotel near the port city and find out who they're using and go there. That's what I do. Okay? That's where your hotel concierge can be helpful, even if you're not staying at the hotel. Okay? All right. Catherine says, we just came back from a transatlantic celebrity cruise and we had 2% that tested positive. Our captain was outstanding in telling us about any COVID. Every single one was asymptomatic. No one was taken off. We felt extremely safe. There you go. Thank you for that, Catherine. I appreciate that. Let's keep going. Too many people are still guessing where the easternmost state is, and it's not Florida. Okay. I'm looking here. Now Catherine is saying that celebrity is providing COVID tests before, during, and after. So check with celebrity or your travel agent. All right, we'll try to get you an answer. All right. Okay, now let's go to some of the questions that you guys sent in earlier in the week. And okay, here we go. Cruising out of Istanbul in June, flying in 3 days earlier. This is from Robert. To see the city, what hotel would you recommend? Price is not an issue. Well, I'm partial to one hotel in Istanbul for 2 reasons. It's an amazing hotel, and it also has an amazing general manager, and I try to stay there every time I go. It's also a palace. It's the Chiron Palace, Ciragan, the Chiron Palace. It's right on the Bosphorus. You wake up in the morning and you are transfixed at your window watching all the ships going by. It's amazing. And the general manager, he's amazing. When I say he's amazing, he is the hotel. When the general manager personifies the hotel or vice versa, you want to stay there. And his name is Ralph Radke. Ralph, kudos to you and your staff. I always have a great time. And during the season, there's a special kind of fish called hamsi. And if you ask the chef, they'll go out and get it for you in the market and cook it there. Pretty cool stuff. Anyway, it's more than the hamsi, trust me. It's just an amazing place to wake up in the morning, and it's an amazing place to go to bed at night. It's not just a bed in a room. Check it out, all right? And quite a history. In fact, we did, on The Travel Detective, a history of that hotel, part of our series called Hotels of the Past. Quite a show. Look it up. It'll give you the whole backstory, including the current story. Okay, let's keep going. All right. Peter from Jane, airfare is so high right now, I can't to travel this summer. I can't afford my flight anymore. How can I get a cheaper ticket these days? Well, in some cases, you can get a cheaper ticket by doing a one-way and not a round trip, and by doing a flight that connects. even if it's a one-way. But if you're going to do a connecting flight, especially with the numbers I gave you earlier in the show, give yourself at least a 90-minute connect time. Because if you miss that connection, even if the airline wants to put you on their next flight, it'll be full. And you'll be spending the weekend at the airport, which is not exactly your first choice. So check the one-way fares on JetBlue or Southwest, Spirit, Frontier. You might be pleasantly surprised, or relatively speaking, a little happier. All the airfares are going up. It's just what it is. All right. Taylor says, do I recommend a good luggage brand? Mine has been through the ringer. Well, there are a couple of luggage brands I love. They tend to be a little pricier, but they really hold up. One, of course, is the legendary Rimowa from Germany. They make both the metal cases, which I have, and the plastic cases, and which I love. But they really hold up. The second group, of course, is Tumi. They tend to be a little more pricey and a little heavier too. But I recommend them. The fabric that they use is essentially bulletproof, which, considering what happens on luggage conveyor belts, you want to have happen. And the third brand that I love is Briggs & Riley. I love their design. I love that they put all the metal on the outside of the bag so you don't lose packing space on the inside. But the thing I really love about them, and believe me, I trash my bags because most of the time I'm not checking my bags, I'm FedExing them, right? But in many cases on international flights, you have to check your bags. But what I love about Briggs & Riley, they don't have a limited warranty. They have a lifetime warranty that makes sense. So I have about 2 or 3 Briggs & Riley's bags right now where the zippers are broken, the handles are kind of broken. I mean, remember, I trash these bags. I just send them back to Briggs & Riley and they repair them for free. It's literally part of their lifetime warranty. You want to talk about traveler loyalty? It's that bag. Same thing with Rimowa. I had a problem with one of the wheels. Took it back in, they fixed it for free. I mean, this is a good deal. Anytime you buy a bag and there's a limited warranty, chances are they will cover nothing. So why even look at the warranty? Because what they'll say is, we don't handle normal wear and tear. Well, what defines normal? And what defines wear and tear? If it's torn and if it's worn, you see my point? You want to go with a warranty that makes sense. So Briggs & Riley gets a big shout out on that. Okay. Okay. Rachel says, I really enjoyed Tanzania's Royal Tour. Is there another in the works? There is, but not for Tanzania. We do 2 to 3 every 2 years with Heads of State. They take a long time to do, as you can imagine. There's no editorial control that the government gets or right of review. Just imagine 2 people on a road trip, one of whom happens to run the country. We've been doing it now for 22 years. King of Jordan, President of Mexico, Prime Minister of Poland, Prime Minister of New Zealand, Prime Minister of Israel. The list goes on. And the most recent one, as we've seen, is Tanzania, the Royal Tour. I hope you'll get a chance to watch. Again, self-serving, I know, but I'm going to tell you anyway. It's available on Amazon Prime and Apple TV Plus if you can't find it on your local PBS station. Last couple of questions. Hi, Peter. Are masks needed for flights from U.S. to Italy? How about at Italian airports? Well, as of yesterday afternoon, the European Union dropped the mask requirement for flights and airports in Europe, which would presume flights going to Europe. And since we don't have that requirement on our airlines anymore, I would presume those mask requirements are gone on theirs. Now, remember, that means masks are voluntary, and I bring my mask. And if I'm sitting, I don't want to wear a mask, but if I'm sitting on the plane and the guy next to me is wheezing, coughing, and drooling, I'll wear 2 masks. That's what you need to do as well. Okay? Okay. All right. Looking. Everyone wants to know about global entry appointment scheduling. It's tough. Once again, they're backlogged like you can't believe. However, believe it or not, global entry also has something called an enrollment on arrival program, where you can actually get interviewed at the airport when you return from an international flight. Finally, somebody has some common sense about this. And there's also an automatic extension for 24 months to help with the backlog. Remember, they're good for 5 years. So if yours is coming up for renewal and you can't get the interview, you get the automatic extension. But try that out, the Enrollment on Arrival program. Just make sure you're registered first so they have you in the system, even though they haven't given you an interview appointment date. Okay? Okay. Alrighty, guys. I hope I didn't miss anybody, but a couple of housekeeping notes. Check out our radio show this weekend on Saturday from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Time. If you can't find it, just go right to our website, petergreenberg.com. We stream it live from about 10:05 in the morning till 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Travel Detective Season 7, premiering this week. So check your local listings on PBS. Again, Amazon Prime if you can't find it on PBS. And of course, the Royal Tour of Tanzania, the Royal Tour, available on Amazon Prime, Apple TV Plus, and of course, your local PBS station. You absolutely want to support PBS. Have a great week, everybody. Enjoy the show this Saturday. You might be surprised from where it's coming, and which means I may be on a plane very soon. And I'll see you next week. Be safe, everybody.
This week on The Travel Detective, it's one of Mexico's most recognizable resort areas, known for its beaches, its water activities, and its nightlife. Our special report from Los Cabos. It's also our cover story. Plus quaint, old world charm, rustic. You've seen these classic phrases in countless brochures to describe a destination or a hotel. But buyer beware. I'll tell you the true meaning of those buzzwords. And then, your next gastronomic destination may come as a surprise. I'll tell you about the food revolution currently going on in Slovenia. I'm Peter Greenberg. All this and more on the next edition of The Travel Detective on PBS. Check your local listings.